Aloha friends, welcome back to the Exotica Lounge. A little different this episode. We've got an interview with a musician who just put out some fresh new Exotica recordings. So I wanted to make sure and get that up here in front of everybody as soon as possible. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking with Mr. Brett Barnes. A little information beforehand. Brett's a musician out in the Las Vegas, Nevada area. He is online in several different places, so make sure to go check him out on YouTube. His channel is Brett Barnes 9225. He shows recordings from lots of different groups. He plays around Vegas, plays with a lot of different groups. So he's got recordings of all kinds of stuff, some Exotica, some blues, and lots of other things, so check that out. He's also on Instagram, brett.barnes.397. Check him out there as well. Most importantly, for what we're talking about today, his new band is called the Enchanted Tiki Cats. You can find them directly on YouTube if you search under their name. Even more importantly and specifically about what we're talking about today, if you check him out on bandcamp.com, Brett has a channel there where the Enchanted Tiki Cats have their new recordings. They're also available on YouTube, Spotify, all the streaming sites. But I want to make sure to mention that streaming is great. It helps numbers, it helps engagement, all that kind of stuff. Musicians, especially in such a niche market as Exotica, musicians will never see a dime of money from streaming on Spotify. So do that to get the word out, and numbers always look good. But if you can go to Bandcamp, buy a track, download it, help support musicians directly, that is greatly appreciated, I know from firsthand experience. So check him out on Bandcamp. The easiest way to do that is just go to bandcamp.com, search for Brett Barnes, and he's got a channel with the Enchanted Tiki Cats, the Hypnotiques, and all kinds of good music on there. So absolutely check that out. And from there, let's dive into talking with Brett. Welcome, viewers, listeners, and welcome to our special guest, Mr. Brett Barnes. Thank you for being here, Brett.
Aloha, Andrew. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Aloha. Thank you so much. This is our first interview on the podcast. And I just mentioned to Brett, I believe this is probably my first interview ever. So for everybody watching, we're in for a ride. We're going to see what's going to happen here. Brett has a new group that he just put together called the Enchanted Tiki Cats. And the music, I must say, is quite enchanting. I believe you've got 2 songs up on YouTube right now. Is that true?
Yes, two pieces that we just recorded this past summer and released.
Excellent. So 2 tracks released, and they're absolutely wonderful. Of the 2, Mai Tais and Moonlight, I got to say that's my jam right there. That's the aesthetic. You know, I just absolutely love just that whole mood. We've been talking about on the podcast, you know, Exotica is kind of designed to take you away, take you to a place, put you in a certain state of mind. And I definitely think that you've accomplished that with these tracks that you put out. So excellent work there. So I want to start with a question. Basically, the whole reason for this podcast. What is Exotica music, according to Brett Barnes?
That's a great question. Because when I tell people, oh, what kind of music do you play? Well, I play Exotica. And they go, oh, so you play for dancers. And I was like, well, yes, but no. And for me, Exotica music is really about, like you said, taking the listener someplace that they would like to go. Someplace different, someplace exotic. Someplace that's different from where they are. I mean, I'm here in the desert with cactus and rocks. And when I wrote Mai Tais and Moonlight, it took me back to being in the water, looking at Diamond Head with the moon over the top at about midnight. that was the mood I was going for with that piece. And another piece that I had written a year before was called My Ties in the Morning. And I recorded that piece with my band, the Hypnotiques.
Excellent. So
And then
it's
that
always a
piece,
good time for a Mai Tai, right?
exactly,
Any time of day.
exactly. And that piece was written, was inspired by being at Duke's restaurant at 10:30 in the morning and having a Mai Tai.
Excellent.
I'm like, there is a perfect title for a piece of music, Mai Tais in the Morning.
Absolutely.
And then our good friend Mark Riddle and his project, they have midday Mai Tais.
Right?
So we are working to just keep the jam all day long.
All day long, all around the clock, we got the Mai Tais flowing. Excellent. I've got, mine's not a, there it is. Mine is kind of painkiller-esque, I guess, today, but it's
Ah,
Mai Tai adjacent.
cheers.
What was your first maybe introduction to Exotica music? How did you find out that this was even a thing?
About 15 years ago, I inherited a bar. It was just a full-size bar that you put up in your home. And ever since I was a kid, I grew up in Southern California, and I remember going to tiki bars at a very, very young age and being around that. And I'm like, I am going to put a tiki bar in this house with that bar. And so I just started researching tiki culture. And then the next thing I know, I discovered the music. And I jumped onto Tiki Central, that website at the time, which had all the chat boards and everything. And I found Martin Denny. And through Martin Denny, I did research on the internet. I was like, wow, I love this music. This music is perfect for what I want to listen to, what I want to have going on in my space. And interestingly enough, I had bought a set of Vibes around that same time. I had a friend who was a retired Broadway musician, and he's selling everything he owns, which was like a storage room full of everything. And I was like, well, what do you want for that set of mussers over there? And he gave me a great deal. And so from there, from Martin Denny, I discovered Arthur Lyman. And I couldn't get enough of his music and his style and his sound. And I was like, that's what I want to play on the vibraphone. From there, it was a matter of just researching, well, who composed these pieces? Where did they come from? And finding out that Les Baxter had composed a good deal of that material that both those artists were performing. And then finding out, some of the other people that were contemporaries of Les and their music, and the other people that just jumped on that, Robert Drasnin and Gene Rain. And I fell in love with this music. And it's funny because I did the whole conservatory in college. I got my degree in percussion, and I played xylophone, marimba, kettle drums, and vibraphone. But I was like, when I get out of college, I'm just going to play drums. Fast forward to 15 years ago, and I'm playing vibes, and I'm taking lessons, and finding out, who are some good teachers that I could study with, and getting back into playing mallets. So I fell in love with this music, and it also helped me fall in love with playing mallets again. And then from there, I just haven't stopped.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. That's a great path that you found and made for yourself. Really cool. Really cool. And you brought up, I did want to mention as well, I follow you on the tubes and the grams and all this stuff. And it seems like every time I see you post, you're doing something like completely different. So it looks like you play music in a lot of different spheres in your daily life. Just give us a sampling of kind of, what is a week in the musical life of Brett Barnes?
Tuesday and Wednesdays, I usually play with a country/Americana group called the Swamp Coolers, which they play a mix of their original material and cover material. And you can check them out. They're on all the streaming platforms and whatnot, the Swamp Coolers. On a Thursday night, I might play with either a blues band called the Smokestacks or a swing group called the Volsteads. And they play jump blues, which is a ton of fun. And I play drums with all these outfits. And tonight I'm playing with a guitarist from Connecticut named Chris Tofield, who's a beautiful blues guitarist and singer, songwriter. I'm performing with him tonight. And then as far as playing the Vibes gigs, the band, the Enchanted Tiki Cats, was a band I've been wanting to do my own thing for a long time as a musician. Be the band leader, call the tunes, pick the musicians I want to play with, and all of those things, and play the material, for the tiki audience that that I think they would enjoy. And so that group, we're actually looking for bookings right now. So I do that, and then I also play with Kitty Chow and her band called the Hypnotiques, and which is a ton of fun. And that's a group that I actually get to play vibes with. And so I met them in 2019. They were playing a gig at one of the libraries here in Las Vegas, and my wife found them on the internet and said, "Hey, the Hypnotiques, they play that same kind of stuff you like." And so I sent them a couple of videos. I played like Yellow Bird, I think, and they were like, "You want to join the band?" Because that's what they were looking for.
Awesome. There's not that many Vibes players out there in the world, are there?
There are a lot of very talented musicians here in Las Vegas, and many of them do play vibraphone. But aside from myself, and there's another very talented player, Jason the Mallet Man Taylor. He lives out here, and he performs on a regular basis, and he's phenomenal.
Awesome.
He was a student of Lionel Hampton's.
Cool.
And so he plays that style and just nails it.
Nice.
And other than that, there's nobody that's really out there, playing vibraphone full time.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, that's one I find that anytime I mention to somebody, it's like, "You play vibraphone? What? Oh, we got to add you to the band." Start collecting bands everywhere because nobody, around here, I think there's like, including myself, there's like 3 people that call themselves Vibes players. There's a lot of orchestral percussionists and that kind of deal. Everybody's got at least some, facility. But as far as kind of focusing on it, not too many around here for sure. I get all the time. I don't know if your audience is a little more cultured than mine, but most people don't even know they're like, "What is that thing? What are you playing? Xylophone? What did?"
Yeah, I get the xylophone a lot.
Lots of xylophone.
A couple of years ago, I was playing with the Jump Blues Band, and they have a big blues festival here in town, which is coming up in September. "Hey, man, we're playing on the headlining stage on Saturday night. You want to come in and sit in on Vibes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what time?" So there I am wheeling my vibraphone through the Hilton. It was the Hilton at the time. It's now the Westgate Hotel. Just wheeling it right through the middle of the casino floor, and people are stopping and looking, and it.
It makes an impression.
Yeah, some people thought, "Oh, great! I can set my drink down and continue to gamble."
Of course.
But yeah, now when I wheel the vibraphone into a tiki bar, everybody knows it's a vibraphone.
Right. You found your audience there, right?
Yeah, and then I'm here to play. They're going to ask me to play something Arthur Lyman.
Excellent. Very good. Let me ask you this. Do you find, in all these different styles that you find yourself working in, do you feel that there's a lot of transfer? Like, does Exotica music inform what you play in other areas, and do those other areas inform what you play when you're doing Exotica, or do you kind of have to mentally separate?
That's an excellent question. Um, the things that make us good musicians definitely apply when you're playing Exotica. Space, leaving space for the other instruments that are in there. But the whole way that I think about harmony now has definitely changed from playing Exotica. When it comes to the drumming, I think a lot when I'm playing with an artist. I think a lot more about what can I do that is going to make that artist sound good, and what can I do that's going to have them feel at ease and feel comfortable so that they can perform. And I'm definitely, as a vibraphone player, I'm very cognizant of what the drummer is playing behind me in my rhythm section. So when I'm a member of the rhythm section, I also try to think of like what annoys me when I'm not in the rhythm section, and I try to avoid that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can say this: the two fellas that I have in the Tiki Cats, I've known both these guys for 30 years. The drummer, Paco, Orlando Santos, he's played with everybody in Vegas. Beautiful player, has a great understanding of not just swing, but he plays all the Latin styles and plays them all very well, and can play them all on percussion. He actually, even though I could have done the percussion overdubs on the record, I'm like, I got Paco, man. Have him do it.
Right. That's great. So
And
he was doing the drum set and the congas and stuff overdub.
Yeah, he did the overdubs. I think the only percussion overdub I did was I did the cowbell on Voodoo Love.
Sweet.
Just because we just did that, we tracked it at the same time to save a little time.
Yeah.
And then the bassist in that group, Rob Edwards, I played in a band with him for a couple of years. It's a band with him and his brothers, the Edwards brothers, and they're called the Roughnecks. And they were very popular in the 90s and actually had some record buzz and songwriting, publishing buzz.
Sweet.
And Rob, I've played a ton of gigs with him. So with these two guys behind me, I trust them completely.
Wonderful. It's always yeah, as a leader, it's so great when you feel supported and you feel like you can do whatever you want to do and the band's going to go with you and that kind of thing. It's great.
And for both of these guys, this is like their first foray into Exotica. And so they're just digging it and they're loving it.
Very good. Very good. This is just for me. I did notice listening on one of the tracks, was there one spot or maybe a few tracks where you overdubbed glockenspiel on top of the vibes? Was I hearing that correctly?
I did that on Voodoo Love.
Okay.
Just on the main melody.
Yeah. That was a very cool timbre that it got. It kind of reminded me a lot of how I think Lyman and Denny would both keep like a toy piano on top of the piano. And sometimes they would kind of double lines on the toy piano, and it kind of had that same little timbre to it that they would get.
Okay, so that's what I hear on those records.
I may be assuming, but I think it was one of those little toy pianos that they kept on top. Yeah.
Okay, because that was my intention, was like I wanted it to have that sound.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely achieved. I heard it. I was like, oh, that's that thing that they did. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Yeah, I love that. One thing that I wanted to ask you about, in my group, I tend to focus intentionally. I do a retro kind of thing. I'm going for the whole Lyman Denny, throwback kind of thing. Most people these days dealing in Exotica music, I think, are more kind of pushing the art forward, which is wonderful. And we need that. A lot of people, blending in jazz and even, bossa nova and other styles, bringing things into Exotica. So as somebody working on the scene, where do you see maybe the direction of Exotica going in the future?
Well, I think one of the things you touched on was involving some of the different styles, like bossa nova, um, and jazz. I definitely hear that happening. There's also like a move of adding surf music to it. Um, Tikiaki's records do that so well, and then there's like a whole other people that are bringing ambient music into it. So, can an EDM type artist or an electronica artist, they can take you somewhere. It doesn't have to be, necessarily just, you know, all of the older instruments and traditional instruments. So those people can take you someplace as well. And for me, that's what this music is about. It's about like taking your listener on a journey. And so that's one of the things that I hear happening is that Exotica is going to be able to be a little more exploratory. But with that being said, I still love just you know grooving down with my trio and playing in that original style because that's what drew me to this music in the first place.
Right.
So I want to be true to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. It's always interesting to me when I see people kind of doing something with exotic, and it's like they're taking it in an area. And I always, anytime I do something, I kind of try to think of, if Denny and Lyman and Baxter and all these guys, if they were still working in today's scene, what would they have incorporated, in the past 60, 70 years, what would they have brought into Exotica if they had kept going with it? It's always an interesting question to me.
Yeah, and it's the same thing if you think about classical music. If you think about classical music, if people like Mozart and Beethoven had access to a digital keyboard, the organizational square pusher things, and I because I'm not real familiar with electronic music, but there's so many things that these newer instruments that people use, and they create new and exciting music with it.
Yeah.
Would these people use it? I think yes.
Yeah, and that's something that we do kind of maybe forget or overlook sometimes, that yeah, when Exotica came out, it was cutting edge. Like they were doing all this new stuff nobody had heard of before. And yeah, I tend to focus on kind of looking back, but yeah, I'm definitely sure they would have incorporated all kinds of electronics into what they were doing if they had it the available, if they could have, for sure. Very cool stuff that a lot of people are doing in that zone. I think one of the biggest ones right now is that Kavakon, that it's kind of, blending. It's almost like 90s trip hop with Exotica kind of stuff, so they do really cool stuff. There's another artist, Roman Angelos is his stage name. And he's doing some similar things to that, getting into like a ambient zone, but he did a remix last year at Inuhele in Atlanta. He was playing, and he did a remix of Quiet Village that was amazing. And usually 9.9 times out of 10, when somebody's like, oh, I remixed Quiet Village, I'm like, I don't want to hear it because I just know it's going to be horrible. But he did an actual wonderful version of it. So I'm going to try to get him on the channel and talk to him about what he's doing as well. But yeah, everybody really pushing boundaries in lots of cool ways. So yeah, there's a lot out there still growing and forming.
I did want to give a shout out to a couple of people. When I first decided to get back into playing vibraphone, I sought out some instructors, and one of the instructors I sought out was a fella who lives in Nashville, Jerry Tashwa. And Jerry is a absolutely beautiful vibes player and musician and clinician, and he really helped me get started, and really helped me to think vibistically, which was a whole other thing for me. And then the other one that I sought out was and he actually found me, was Thomas McKay. And Thomas lives in Hawaii, and we are very, very, very good friends. And he had a group right before the pandemic, around that time, called Intoxica. That just really, I mean, they were pushing some boundaries. A big thank you for both of these fellas' support.
Yeah, yeah, both wonderful players and wonderful people. From what I've known, I haven't met either of them in person, but I've seen some work that they've both done, and yeah, great guys doing really good work. And I do love this community, and this is something that I've found. Drummers in general, percussionists, and the tiki community both. I've seen a parallel that, like, drummers are never in competition with each other. You know, it's like if you've ever gone to one of the PASICs or something like that, it's like everybody's in there just sharing everything they know, showing everybody how to do things and all this. And I've seen the same thing in the tiki and exotica worlds, that it's like there's no such thing as competition. You know, everybody is on the same page and trying to help each other and trying to support each other and lift each other up. So yeah, I love seeing so many people doing exotica music, and I envision someday having an actual like exotica festival and have like 15 or 20 exotica bands just all having a huge party together, you know, and everybody just sharing what we're doing would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's not, you know, I've just got this music inside of me, and it wants to come out. And it's not about like, oh, you know, can I outdo this cat or that cat? No, I'm not going to, because they're already doing their thing. And so, you know, for me, it's really like finding my voice. What is my voice and my sound and what I'm doing musically, and where am I trying to go with it and take the listener with me?
Yeah. And it's a beautiful voice, and thank you for sharing it with us.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And I'm and I'm always down to talk tiki anytime when you know, anytime
Absolutely
wants to talk tiki.
Absolutely.
And talk music.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to cut it off before Zoom cuts us off here. Someday I will be a real person and get a real subscription so we can talk forever. But until they cut us off, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to sit down with us. And anytime that you have something that you want to bring and share with us, you know, we'd love to have you back again on the podcast.
Oh, awesome, Andrew. Thank you so much. And again, what a real pleasure to just chat with you and to meet you virtually.
Right.
We talk back and forth a lot on socials and everything. So I know that if we were in the same town, we'd be hanging out all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll put a tiki band together.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, again, thank you. It was a real pleasure to talk music with you, and keep doing what you're doing, man. And
you too. All right, Brett. Mahalo and aloha.
All right. Much mahalo and aloha to you as well.
All right. Thank you, sir.